I'm Donna.
And I'm Bruce. And this is Lyrical Wisdom.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to Lyrical Wisdom, where we dive into song lyrics and offer heart-based wisdom through our interpretations. If you enjoy what you're hearing, don't forget you can catch every episode of Lyrical Wisdom on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and more.
You can also find us on YouTube. Just search Lyrical Wisdom Show. Do you have a song you'd like to hear us shed some light on? You can email us requests, questions, comments to lyricalwisdomshow@gmail.com. That's lyricalwisdomshow@gmail.com. Or leave a comment on a YouTube video. We'd really love to hear from you. And all requests get an episode and a shout out.
So join us every Tuesday and Friday as we dig deep and deliver our wisdom. And thank you for sharing, liking, and subscribing to Lyrical Wisdom. Good morning, Bruce.
Good morning, Donna.
It's a beautiful day today.
It is an incredibly beautiful day. It's just another day in paradise.
Yes, it is. I am so happy to hear that. And I love envisioning that paradise.
I do too. I thank you, Dad. Yeah, I love that too.
And I hope each and every one of you do that too. Every morning when you turn, or afternoon or evening, whenever you turn on Lyrical Wisdom and listen. I hope you too are finding a day in paradise.
Another day in paradise, absolutely.
Right, because life can be so beautiful.
Life is.
Life is.
Life is.
Yes, life is. And today we have something that has been very prominent.
Yes.
In my life. This song has been in my heart for a long time. I even have a tattoo that, signifies it.
Wow.
It is part of what I say who I am.
Yeah.
So I am so excited to do this song for you all today. I know I've done writings on it in the past.
Wow.
But today we get to experience it here on Lyrical Wisdom.
Hooray.
Hooray. The song that we're talking about is
The Rose by Bette Midler. Now, this was written by Amanda McBroom.
Back in the 70s.
Yes.
Yeah. And Bette Midler, of course, made this song famous with her movie, The Rose.
She did. And some thought that song, which, I would assume the movie had its own story, but I think they kind of created a story around Janis Joplin.
Ah, okay.
Correct? I think,
okay.
Yeah. And so I think that was something that they kind of put together, but the actual song was written for other reasons.
Right, right. Amanda McBroom, thank you for this beautiful, beautiful song that you wrote back in 1977, 78, you know. And thank you, Bette Midler.
Absolutely.
For your voice.
Absolutely.
That brought this song to life.
Oh, yeah.
And resonated in my heart.
Oh,
and is now stamped on my ankle forever. My tattoo of a rose.
That's beautiful.
Yes. All right, here we go. The Rose by Bette Midler. Some say love, it is a river that drowns the tender reed. Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed. Some say love, it is a hunger, an endless aching need. I say love, it is a flower, and you its only seed. It's the heart, afraid of breaking, that never learns to dance. It's the dream, afraid of waking, that never takes the chance. It's the one who won't be taking, who cannot seem to give, and the soul afraid of dying that never learns to live. When the night has been too lonely and the road has been too long, and you think that love is only for the lucky and the strong, just remember, in the winter, far beneath the bitter snows, lies the seed that with the sun's love in the spring becomes the rose.
That's beautiful.
This song has been in my heart for so long. Well, the 70s,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Because it really does talk about what we are as human beings. We have this like endless aching need for
Yes,
love, a
yes.
search for love.
Yeah.
And we look for it outside of ourselves constantly.
Yes, we do.
In things like houses and cars and, trips and in people.
I was just going to say, and in people.
In our partner.
Yeah.
And it's when we learn that we are the seed of love
Yes.
that it begins to grow.
And it can become the rose in the spring. Yeah. It's interesting because we do tend to forget that we cannot make somebody else happy. We can only really make ourselves happy. And through that, we can then infect somebody else with that and hopefully encourage that in them. But
By just growing into the rose and being the rose.
Yes. It has to start with loving ourselves. And that's one of the things that I love that this song kind of, it doesn't say it as literally as we are now.
Right.
But it says it in such beautiful poetic words.
Right.
Some say love, it is a river. And just that first phrase, that first sentence, a river is incredibly powerful. It is going
ever flowing.
And ever flowing. And it's going to change its pathway if it wants to. It's going to drag things along. It's going to move things in it. It's going to stay still. It's going to do a lot of things that we have no control over.
Correct. And sometimes it can drown the tender reed.
It sometimes can. And that is something that the river can do. The power of a river is mentioned here about its kind of unpredictability and, of course, its capability of being one thing that drowns the tender reed or another thing that moves things from one point to another very helpfully. Or, we can use to acquire food, or we can use to, make power.
I think that is one beautiful point in this, is that love is so powerful.
Yes.
That it can drown the tender reed. And therefore, when one understands the power of love, it can flow gracefully so that it does not drown the tender reed.
Absolutely, because if you think about the tender reed, well, it's already described as a tender reed, which means that it's new, and this powerful river is capable of doing something that, you almost think first time you hear this, you're thinking, well, that's terrible. It's drowning this very vulnerable and fragile thing, but that's because of the fact that the river is powerful. It is what it is. We can't change that, and we shouldn't try to control that.
Yeah.
And its capabilities can be harmful per se to the vulnerable tender reed, but it can also be a giving river. It can be something that produces wonderful things, and it always does. It always does. And then the next thing that we say is a lot like that. Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed. Boy, is that powerful.
Yes, and I believe that this is the what I refer to as the misunderstanding of love.
Yes.
Because in this particular lyric, I believe they're speaking of what we refer to as love on the outside.
Yes.
Meaning the love, between a couple or, and a fight, a breakup, whatever.
Yeah.
People say, well, my heart's broken kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they refer to it as the love that caused that soul to bleed, that heart to break.
And I love that, because another way I want to add to that is simply that to have no fear of the potential of putting yourself in the pathway that can give you such immense love and an experience of true love. It's a beautiful experience. Or you can have an experience of a razor that leaves your soul to bleed. That is something that we have to accept, and we have to have no fear of in order to experience love of any kind. To give love and then have that not returned is not a torture. It is not a painful. It is not something that we should avoid. We should embrace that, because otherwise, if we don't try to give love with, if that becomes conditional love, with these things that we attach to it as expectations of us giving the love, and then this is what we're going to get in return.
Right.
That to me, that's what this is saying is, from the river drowning the tender reed and the razor that leaves your soul to bleed. These are things that if we allow ourselves to attach expectations and conditions to the love that we are willing to give, we may never give that love.
Right, because it is not the love that you and I are speaking of.
Yep.
That is the river.
Yeah.
that just flows freely.
Yes.
Without condition.
Yep.
Without you have to flow this way, you have to flow that way. It's well, we'll get into that in this song, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, yes, next is, some say love, it is a hunger, an endless aching need. And that word right there says it all.
It does.
Because when you need love, for me, it simply means you don't know love. You haven't experienced the love that you are, the love that you are created from, the love that is you, within you.
Yes.
We are love.
Yes.
And if you don't, or if it's not recognized
Thank you.
in that manner, then yes, there is this search for love. And I know this because I've been there.
Me too.
I have been there.
Me
This
too.
is part of the journey of life.
Yes.
Of loving life.
Yes. Loving life and loving without expecting any kind of return. You have to be able to give that love. And to be able to give that love means that you are open to receiving it.
Right. And so a need says that there is something missing.
Yes.
And that is the key to all of this.
Yeah, because the love is within us. And when you said recognize, I thought that was just what I was feeling in my heart. And that's why I said thank you, because that's what we have to all acknowledge and recognize within ourselves. We have to be able to see that we have the love within ourselves, and we recognize that love, and it is there.
Right.
And once we can recognize and acknowledge that, then we can receive our own love for ourselves, which means that then we're open to receive it from other people. Because if we're under the condition that we can only receive love from somebody else,
because we need it,
then that is when we really don't know
what love is.
Thank you. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
I love
yeah.
it when you finish my sentence.
And Amanda says it so eloquently
Yes.
in this next line.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
She says, I say love, it is a flower, and you, its only seed. I mean, that says it all, right?
It's almost like we need a moment of silence just to appreciate that phrase. Yeah, it is so beautiful, because that is what it is. The and you, its only seed. That means that every single one of you has love within you as a seed that can grow. Recognize it.
Right, right.
Recognize it.
Yes, acknowledge it.
Yes, because it could be, and it usually is, the heart afraid of breaking that never learns to dance. That is so amazing. Mm-hmm. It's the dream afraid of waking that never takes the chance. Those words are so incredibly important to me in what we're talking about, because you can read in a book all of the concepts and physical ways that the body has to move if you want to learn how to swim, but you're really not going to learn how to swim if you don't actually get into a pool or a lake or something and give yourself that chance and take that chance. Mm-hmm. You may choke on some water. And yes, you may have the opportunity to drown. But the fact of the matter is that if you're afraid of your heart breaking, you may never learn to dance. And if you're afraid of waking from that dream, then you'll never take the chance. And that is the true recognition and acknowledgement of that seed that is within us all.
Yeah, yeah. And that endless aching need
Yes.
is what brings the fear to the heart of breaking.
Yeah.
And when that need has been fulfilled, then the fear can be let go.
Yes.
And then one can dance, because there is no fear of the heart breaking.
Absolutely.
Because of the knowledge of knowing that it's already there.
It is already there.
I don't have to search anymore.
Yeah,
I don't have to look for it outside of me. It envelops me. It is me. And everything around me is it too.
Absolutely. And then that's when you'll be able to recognize the love that people are also giving. Because one of the side effects of not being able to recognize the seed of love that was within us all is then, if we don't recognize that, we can't receive love. Mm-hmm. And in most cases, people will think that what they're receiving from someone is something negative and unhelpful or toxic even, or harmful. And they may, you may have experienced that out there where you're told that you have hurt somebody, and they'll look at you and say, but I've been loving you. How is this possible? And that is one of those things, is that the person that would assume that the hurt is from someone else that loves them has not been able to recognize and acknowledge the seed of love within them. And the only response, of course, is to love them by giving them what they ask for. And that is what we do. We need to be able to love without that fear, but we sometimes cannot recognize that the love is there, and then we can't receive it. And then we misinterpret what that love is. Mm-hmm. And it becomes, you can see it all over the world. It becomes misinterpreted as something else. We have all kinds of different names and definitions, and it is incredible. But the real bottom line for most people is that if they don't recognize and acknowledge that seed of love inside of them, then they'll never actually be able to receive the love that can grow that seed into a flower.
Because how can they in turn give love if they have not recognized what love is?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because love has become harmful to them.
Yes. It's the dream that's afraid of waking.
Of waking, yeah.
That never takes the chance.
Yeah.
I can't imagine going through life without dancing.
Oh, my goodness.
And taking chances.
Absolutely.
Because even in the moments of heartbreak
Yes.
or tripping over my own 2 feet.
Absolutely.
I just love what comes from those lessons.
Absolutely.
From those moments of, what I would label as, bad or negative or whatever. It's understanding the love that is there presenting itself for the growth and transformation.
Yes. And it is so hard to recognize that because sometimes people say, why is this happening to me? And we kind of refer to that a lot in our episodes. But, that is what we can misinterpret because we are constantly learning, and that learning is love.
Yes.
And
yes.
It's the one who won't be taking, who cannot seem to give. We just talked about that.
Yes, we did.
And the soul afraid of dying that never learns to live. We constantly look for those things from the outside because we don't recognize what we have within.
I am so happy that she used the word soul here because it acknowledges that other part of us that we don't recognize, the divinity within us that is the love.
Yes.
And she says it's the soul afraid of dying. It's that humanity of the soul. In other words, that aspect of us that is one with the soul that actually holds the fear of dying.
Yes.
The soul never dies.
No.
It continues to live.
Yes.
And we are souls here on earth.
Yes.
And therefore, her acknowledgement of us being a soul, I think, is so beautiful.
Absolutely.
In that's who we really truly are.
Yes.
And when we can let go of that fear of dying, knowing that the soul lives forever and is that aspect of love that created us, the divinity within us, then we can learn to live.
Oh my gosh, and learn to love and acknowledge our love. And when the night has been too lonely and the road has been too long, and you think that love is only for the lucky and the strong, and that one, this is a very beautiful way of referring to a lot of the things that we say that refer to the fact that we look for love somewhere else. And so we think that if you're lucky and you're strong, you're the one that's going to, or that person or that thing is the thing that's going to be able to receive love. They're going to get it. And, they just don't know what my life is like. And, who are they to try to tell me how to receive love? Well, to try to characterize it a little bit for you guys, that to me is what we have been talking about throughout this entire song, because we all have that random chance of receiving love ability. And I use those words to describe lucky because there are no coincidences.
Right.
It's just that, when you recognize that you are a being of love and a soul full of love, and you are love, then randomly a bird may start singing and do the Cinderella thing where it lands on your shoulder or finger.
Oh my God, Bruce. That reminds me the other day. Yeah, you're so right. I was out by my lake feeding my fish and something tickled my foot and it frightened me for a moment. Because I thought, I had a bug crawling on me. And I looked down and it's a dragonfly.
Wow.
And it lands on my foot again. And I looked at it and it was bright crystal blue.
Wow.
And it brought tears to my eyes because I have always wanted a dragonfly to land on me. And one never has. But yesterday one did.
Wow.
And I took that moment just to be in awe and to understand that the wanting and the needing doesn't that isn't how things arrive.
Nope.
It is just in the being of who you are and understanding what love really is.
Yes.
It is everything and all that is, and what
Yes.
creates us and moves us and continues to create
Yes.
all the worlds.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
It's
It is
fascinating.
It is. And we are so easily distracted, I think, as a group of humanity in our own way, living in this experience on Earth. I think we all get very easily distracted from recognizing the love that is contained within our physical bodies.
Yes.
And what we so have in abundance.
Yeah, and we're not saying that there won't be times when the night does get lonely.
Yes.
And the road feels so long.
Yeah.
It is in those moments that we can truly find love
Yes, we can.
from within.
Yes, we can.
Just go into the heart space and just be in your heart and just know who you are.
Absolutely.
And you'll call in the love.
You will call in the love.
And you'll have a dragonfly
And
land
you'll
on
have
your
a
bare foot.
dragonfly. So yeah, just remember, in the winter, far beneath the bitter snows,
lies the seed that with the sun's love in the spring becomes the rose. Such a beautiful ending
yes.
to this song.
Yeah.
She's asking us to remember who we really are.
Yeah.
In those moments of a lonely road or a long road and lonely times and you thinking that you can't find love.
And why is this happening to me?
Right. It's remember who you are in that moment.
Yeah.
And everything changes.
Yes.
Because you are changing your perspective and the way you are seeing life. The sun's love.
Yeah.
I love this because it presents the warmth and the envelopment of the protection of, Father. I call God Father, Mother, Mother, Father, because I understand that love as the union of both.
Absolutely.
The masculine and the feminine. And for me, the sun is the masculine aspect of love and the earth being the feminine aspect of love.
Absolutely.
And so in the winter, far beneath the bitter snow, there are times when you're going to feel cold and you're going to feel lonely. Look to the sun.
Yes.
And feel the warmth in your entire body. And you know what will happen, Bruce? Your seed will sprout and you will become love.
You will become the rose. Absolutely.
The rose.
Absolutely.
And one more thing about the beauty of this song is that, Mother Mary is associated with the rose.
Oh, wow.
And the rose is also known or spoken to as the scent of heaven.
Oh, wow.
So,
that's beautiful.
Yeah, that is part of the reason why I resonate so deeply with this song.
Yeah.
Because when I smell a rose, something happens to my entire body.
Oh, wow.
How many of you out there
Yeah.
does that happen to when you truly smell a rose? A real, organic, live rose that is on the bush. When you bend down and just take in its fragrance, for that moment, I experience heaven.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, it's funny that they mentioned the soul afraid of dying that never learns to live, because one of the parts, a very prominent, a very common story with people that have near-death experiences or death experiences and then come back, they talk about the fact that it becomes a very easy transition. Once the transition begins, you feel like it's something that you recognize.
Right.
That you've had happen possibly so many times that you just can't count. And that part is something that always comes up because it becomes something that they're so surprised by.
Right.
You know? And that is something that we have this physical attachment to our experience of being alive that we forget how to let go. And that's another side of loving, is sometimes if you love something, set it free.
If it comes back to you.
It
yes,
may,
I remember that.
It may, you know, but it may not. And that's the thing, is that at least you know that your love is inside of you enough that you can set something free.
Right.
And that is the recognition and the acknowledgement that that seed, that sun's love, is going to shine on, and it's in the spring you're going to grow. You know, you're going to become that rose because you have that love inside of you.
And what does spring represent?
Rebirth.
Rebirth, new growth, transition. It's saying, you know, it's telling us, or she's telling us that, you know, winter comes for all of us here on Earth at some point or another. We all experience winter. Earth does too. She's such a beautiful teacher in that way. And when you go inside, because that's what happens in winter, everything dies, you know, the leaves drop from trees and everything appears dead.
It does.
It's at rest. It is just going within to acknowledge that seed, that love that you know comes forth in the spring. Everything blooms and turns green and comes to life in the spring. So I love that. Love that.
I love it too. Wow.
Wow. Hello, beautiful roses out there.
Yes.
Let your beauty come through today.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much for sharing your beauty with us today here on Lyrical Wisdom.